All right. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I am Warren Davis. This is The Naked Singer. Let's sit down and talk. I want to continue my conversation or our conversation about regret that was in episode 2. I'm going to call regret a naked truth, not only to go with the theme of the show, but also it's something that weighs pretty heavily, at least on my life, that I have to admit, and I would assume that it would do the same for everybody else, right? We whether we like it or not, maybe it just happens all the time. Just thinking of things we could have done better, thinking how things could have been done differently in general, just a bunch of things like that. I want to bring in a story that I actually just competed in. I guess you would call it a competition. It's more of a competition with just myself, but I or participated in a half marathon yesterday. And after I did so, I was reflecting on it at the end, and some of that regret came into it. Regretting that I could have done more, that I was going through some pain there at the end, the last, mile or so. And I think when I crossed the finish line, I plopped onto the floor, onto the grass. But after kind of regaining my strength, which probably only took a good 3 to 5 minutes, I got up and a little bit of, sore calves and whatnot. But I felt, man, I could have done more. I could have gave more, right? And so that's where the regret kind of comes into it. I could have ran faster. I could have, there was times where I felt like I should just walk and not run at all. And all those things were kind of going through my mind. Could, right? Thinking about the past. Also, another form of regret in that same moment was, here's a quick little story. Hopefully it's quick. At the end of the race, so a half marathon is about 13 miles and 1/10 of a mile. And so I have my Apple Watch going. I started it as soon as I started the race. And so maybe one lesson is to not only be not looking at the time, but not looking at, okay, how much longer do I have to go? And if you can, now thinking of it, you can see that in life in general, maybe. That I don't really know when this journey is going to end. Let me just enjoy it while it's going, But that's not what I did. And so I'm looking at my watch and I see, 12:08. Okay, I have about 3/10 of a mile left. 12:09. Okay, I got 2/10 of a mile. Okay, I'm gonna gas it. I'm going. Well, 13, right at 13 comes. I have 1/10 of a mile to go, and I don't see the finish line anywhere. And in that moment, I was aware of my feelings. And it's almost like I couldn't really, and that's a conversation probably for another day. It almost felt like I couldn't really stop this emotion of bitterness and negativity that started going through my mind. And what it really does is just, it makes me realize that I have a lot more growth to be had, that I'm not a complete sculpture of what I want to be, and that's okay, as long as we're moving toward that, which I'm going to get to that in a second. But I had a lot of bitterness. Where's the finish line, right? Usually in these races, you start hearing music kind of toward the end. If it's an open course, now this was a trail run, so it makes sense because we were going through the trees and whatnot. But still, when you want to see the finish line in the last 1/10 of a mile. I didn't see it. I had no idea where it was. I didn't hear any music. So I started where is it? Where is it going? And so people start passing me. And this one guy, I guess he raced it before. And so he says, oh, it's another 10 minutes, man. And I was like, 10 minutes? My watch says it's over. And so the thoughts start going through my head of, man, I'll just walk the rest because I did 13.1. That's not right. That's not right. And I regret that. I regret feeling that way. I regret kind of having that attitude about it because that particular race yesterday actually gave me a lot. I learned a lot, not only in that way, but in other ways too. And so I'm super grateful for it. It's almost like an interaction with a person. It's almost like a relationship with something. You know, I wish I was a little bit more grateful for the opportunity to do that race. So I was walking back to my car and I was feeling that regret of my attitude in that moment. I was feeling that regret in my effort that I could have gave more. You know, do I want to pass out at the end? Do I want to be carried off on a stretcher? No. But when it comes to our perceived limitations, at least for me, I want to push the boundary, or I want to be somebody who does, right? And the other thing that I learned during that race was that exactly. There's this gap between, I think, who we are. I think it's just in every aspect of life, whether we're talking about regret, we're talking about social acceptance, which is something I want to talk about eventually. We're talking about purpose, whatever we're talking about. There's a gap between where we are now and where we want to be, right? In a race, same thing, right? There's literally the gap between where you start and where you finish. And what I realized was, you know, especially with running, and I've tried before without any music, it's a lot harder, at least for me. And I want to get to the point. There's still that gap there. I want to get to the point where I don't need music. I don't need that motivation. And there was times where I turned it off and I wanted to hear the birds chirping. And there was actually cows. I actually stepped in some cow leftovers yesterday. And there's this gap between where we are and where we want to be. But as long as you just keep on moving toward that finish line, it's progress, it's growth, right? And a lot of the times before I would do these races and I would have this idea before I went into it, and I tell myself, it's not a success if I walk at any point in this race. You know, as harsh as that may be, that was just kind of my mentality going into it. Well, yesterday with a 2,600 feet elevation gain, and to be honest, I could have, which another thing I learned, I could have trained more, should have trained more. I got to almost mile 7, and it was just steady going up. I almost had to start walking. As well as going down. If I was running that entire time, I might have fell off the mountain. So, you know, I had to start doing that. It made me realize as long as I'm moving forward, I'm going toward the finish line. The only thing is when we bring this, I think when we bring this to our journey of life in general, right? You could see it two different ways. You don't know where the finish line is, right? Or if you want to go hardcore, there is no finish line. Because once you get, and it's just like an analogy of like climbing a mountain. I've heard this before. You climb a mountain, and then when you get to the top of that mountain, there's a higher mountain, and you just keep on going. And that's kind of the idea of progress, I think, in our lives and in personal growth. So that race gave me a lot. It gave me a lot. And I regretted not being more grateful for it, right? But when we talk about regret, it's almost, there's no point in it. It's almost, it's just holding us back, right? Regret is only the way I define it, and I don't have the definition off the top of my head, nor will I look to Google for it. But the way I think of it, which might be better anyway, if we think of all these definitions of these words, if you just take the definition of what Merriam-Webster says or something like that, do you really understand it, right? And I think this, I tell my students, I don't know if I said this before, but I'm a second year teacher. I teach 6th grade. Yeah, it's fun. And I tell them all the time, when you're trying to gain knowledge, you're trying to get information from something, to put it in your own words. And it's not a plagiarism, you're going to get expelled type of reason. It's more of when you take something, somebody else's knowledge, I think, when you take somebody else's creativity and then you kind of spin it your way, I think you understand more of it after you do that. If I just put the paper up on the projector and they just copy down everything I put, which is pretty hard because my I've been told my handwriting is the best. They're not really getting the most from it. I've literally seen this happen where we'll go over notes. And I know for sure that they have the notes because we went over them, and then I did a notebook check and I see their notes. But then I put the math problem in front of them and just draw a blank. They have no idea what's going on, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense. You wrote down the notes. Well, it's because they were just regurgitating what I was saying. They weren't actually letting it go through their thought process, how they understand it, right? I think that's kind of what we need to do instead. You know, that was a whole different tangent about definitions. Anyway, my definition of regret would, have something to do with past. If you just break it down in that way, past, present, future, it's a past tense type of word, right? It's something that has happened in the past that I wish I would have done differently. Something to that effect. And I've thought about this before, quite a few times actually. And what came to my mind was this idea of 3 different things in the same situation. If you can visualize a person, I was going to say man, but let's keep it generalized. Just a person, a boat, and the ocean, right? The ocean is time, right? The ocean moves. Sometimes we can have bad times. The ocean can be very ferocious, very fierce, kind of scary. Sometimes we can have good times. The ocean can be very calm, very peaceful, very joyous, right? But the boat is on the ocean, right? We are experiencing time, right? The boat is our body. Like, we're literally going through time. I have a timer right here. Time is going, right? The boat is moving with the time. There's nothing we can do about it, right? Good time, bad time, it doesn't matter. There's nothing we could do about it. Time only goes forward until, people actually invent a time machine, which there's been some conspiracy theories. But I don't believe so, at least right now, right? That's only in movies. Time only goes forward. Time is moved, right? Or time is the force that moves us. Our bodies are the boat. The person in the boat is our mind. I've never said this out loud, so hopefully we'll see. We'll see the reaction, I guess, whatever. if this is too outlandish. But the person is in the boat is on the water is time, the boat is our bodies, the person is our mind. Okay? Your mind has to be with your body. If your mind is not with your body, the person is not in the boat. So what's happening to the person? The person is drowning. And I think I can understand it in that way, because sometimes what happens? We drown in that regret. We let it consume us. I've had it a couple times, let it consume me, where you just kind of stay in that same situation. You stay in that same thought. You don't go forward. I talked about last episode of Kobe Bryant and having our regret fuel your present aspirations, right? Use that regret to propel you forward, right? For what are you going to do now? And sometimes we don't. We want to stay back there. We want to stay back to, like I was talking about with my sports experiences. I want to stay back in that dreamlike situation of, oh, I did catch the ball, or, oh, I did hit the step back three, right? But we can't. Why can't we? Because the ocean is always moving. Time is always moving. It's moving forward. Our bodies have to move with it. Not even our bodies have to. It's not up to us. Our bodies do move with it. As time goes, look, I got, and I was going to talk about some other insecurities. I've talked about my teeth before. I had a dream that somebody talked about my eye bags. That's another insecurity that I have. So, I mean, I guess we can infuse all these different little thoughts into whatever it is I'm talking about. But yeah, like I only gained these eye bags because time has moved forward. So you have to keep your mind, the person has to stay in the boat. You have to keep your mind with your body. How do you do that? You stay present. You stay present, right? So when the regret comes, and I want to be sure to, again, make sure I'm being clear in that I don't think I know. It's almost like, again, there's nobody here. It's just me. It's almost like me just talking to myself. I'm almost kind of like figuring these things out live, So when I talk, it's not I'm telling you this is what you need to do. When regret comes, do this. It's almost like I'm talking to myself. However, I do believe that, especially 18 minutes in, if you are still watching this, you feel a little bit of relation. So you must feel a little bit like me too. So if I'm talking to myself, then if I'm imagining, if the approach is that I'm talking to myself, then it makes sense that I'm talking to you. Back to the boat, okay? Mind has to be in the body. The body is moved by time. The person has to be in the boat. The boat is moved by the ocean. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. So when regret comes through your mind, it's like, hey, there you are. Oh, okay, bang. Okay, you're here. Regret has come. What do I do now? For me, at least what I experienced yesterday when that did come, was, like I said about Kobe Bryant, it's almost the same thing. I used that. I don't think I thought about that until I said that in episode 2. And then fate wanted me to go through that experience. Could I have put it in my own control and gave more effort and not had a bad attitude at the end? Yeah, for sure. But, right, my mind has to stay in my body. The person has to stay in the boat. It happened. It's real. That's what happened. That's how it went. all I can do now is make sure when I face that situation again, I'm not going to act in that way at the end. When I face that situation in the end, I know, hey, body, I feel you. You're telling me you're in pain, but no, it's a trick. Don't trick me. I know you can give more, because my calves, my knees, everything was yelling at me. But then in the end, that pain was only there for 3 to 5 minutes, and then I was fine. I actually went back because I met somebody during the race that wanted to finish, and I finished before them, and I went back into the wild to make sure that they finish. Bare feet and all, actually, because I couldn't do it with my socks. I stepped in water. It was nasty. Anyway, it's just thinking about when you face the situation again. Thinking about when you face the situation again, that I'm going to do it differently. And how am I going to do it? Well, whatever that regret was that I had, right? I'm going to make sure I don't feel that again, man. I'm going to make sure, or at least I don't feel it as severe, Because maybe the next time I do this race or a different race, at the end, maybe there's a little bit of anger, maybe a little bit of frustration, but not as much as yesterday, right? Maybe there's a little bit of, when I'm feeling pain, okay, let me slow down, right? But not as much as the realization that 3 to 5 minutes after I got done, I could have gave more, right? You have to take it, think about it. Think about it. Kind of visualize what it would be going forward. And then you got to go forward yourself. You cannot drown in your own regret, right? Especially because full accountability, it's your own. It's my own. There's nobody else that can help me with it. It's in my mind, I can probably talk it out, but they don't know what I'm going through. They don't know how heavy that regret is for me, depending on how heavy it is for you. Don't make it heavy for yourself. Don't make it heavy for yourself. That's why we have this. That's why I want this. Not only for myself, because now I feel so much better about yesterday that I can go forward and not think about it again and go, you know what? The next half marathon I do, it's going to be different. That's it. But also for you, right? Whatever it is, and whether it's a half marathon or it's just an interaction with somebody at a place, that, you wish you would have said this, or you wish you didn't say that. You wish you would have talked to this person, right? You just be aware of it. I think you got to be aware of it. Don't hide from it. Expose yourself to it. That you have to be vulnerable. And it's not even really vulnerability. It's just truth. It's real. Don't lie to yourself, right? And that's where I'm coming from. I think I spent a lot of time in my life, not because of anybody else's doing, but my own, lying to myself. Making things seem better than what they really were, or making things, convincing myself that it wasn't something I had to address. Just, what do they say? Sweeping it under the rug. Okay. So yeah, that feels really good to say that stuff. I have a little note here that I wanted to say last episode that I didn't end up saying. And that is, to know what you can potentially regret in the future, you have to know what you want from the future. Right? And I think you have to be real about that. You have to be real with yourself about that. What do you really want in the future? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you want to be? Because now in the present, if you're not moving toward that and you don't end up getting there in the next 5 to 10 years, then that is what you're going to regret. I think that makes sense. That makes sense in my mind, at least. You know, it's almost like you got to have this, I want to say the word cynical comes in my mind, this cynical, this brutal relationship with yourself, you know, that it's, and you can, because it's not about anybody else. Like if I'm teaching other students, I have to kind of be aware of their mental state. If I'm talking to even my friends or even my family members, I have to be aware of, you know, kind of, okay, if I say this, will that be a little bit too harsh? Will that push them more away, or will that encourage them, right? I have to be aware of that. When you're talking to yourself, no holds bar, man. It doesn't matter. It's up to your own interpretation. And my thing is, I think you throw the guards down, you get the swords, you draw the swords, you slice it up, man. You really go after it. You really have to, I don't even want to say, you know, hardcore people might think you really got to attack it. But maybe it might be better to understand it as, that's why I have a sit down and talk, understand it as it's me opening the door to that truth. You know, this place of security in my mind, this house, you know, that I have, that is me, that is my identity. When something comes knocking, good, bad, ugly, whatever, just like I talked about the ocean, you know, because we're all going to experience, I think we all have and are going to experience times like that. Through the full end of the spectrum. They come knocking on your door. I think it's best to, you know, open that door up and not, you know, it's not killing it. It's more of, you know what? Come on in. Let's go. What do you got to talk about? Because that thing that you're opening the door to, not only is it truth, but it is truth because it is you. It's you, it's your thoughts. It's how you view the world. You know? So when you think of regret and you think of what will I potentially regret, you got to be open. You got to be honest with yourself about what you want in the future. That is going to tell you what you're going to regret now, right? One last thing I want to share about this regret. And again, I wanted this video to be shorter. I gave a lot in this video. It feels pretty good. So I don't know. Maybe just like the race where I didn't want to walk and I ended up walking at times. Maybe these videos will be 30 minutes or so. It just takes a long time to upload. I'll leave it up to your interpretation if that's a good or bad thing to watch it for half an hour, if you can give that time for half an hour. Or maybe you just find moments to skip through. I don't know. Up to you. Anyway, I have this paper here. I've already turned 27 years old. About almost 3 months ago. I wrote this paper on my 26th birthday. It says, by my 27th birthday. And I want to be even more vulnerable with you guys about what I've wanted. And here's what it is. I wrote this on my 26th birthday. I said, by my 27th birthday. So a year from that point, that's already passed now, right? By my 27th birthday. Number 1, read 8 books. I didn't read one. Number 2, own a house. That happened. That hasn't happened either. This one says, number 3, drop one song. I have these aspirations to make music. I think I kind of told you guys about them before. But not only didn't do that, but didn't even move toward it. Number 4, a stamp on my passport. That's about travel. Didn't. I had a nice little trip during the summer, but not that. So 0 for 4. I wanted to learn Japanese on Duolingo. It says finish Japanese course. Nope, didn't do that. I haven't finished any courses on learning a new language. Let's just go rapid fire. Next one. Learn 3 songs on guitar. I just now learned the national anthem, but in that span of my 26th year around the sun, I didn't learn one song. Juggle 3 objects for 30 seconds. Didn't do that. I bought like juggling balls. I could not do that right now. Ooh, conquer hell of a half. That's a half marathon in Exeter that I've done before, and it beat me up. I didn't even do it, let alone conquer it. Like I didn't even participate in it. So didn't do that. What are we? 0 for 7. Okay. Number 8. Name 5 constellations in the sky. Okay. That one, I don't think I practiced that one, but I can name a couple. I think what I meant by that, though, is I wanted to be able to just look at the stars and then go, boom, that's that, and that one's that, and that one's that. I think I could probably do Ursa Major and Ursa Minor, the Big Dipper, Little Dipper. Maybe Leo, the lion. That might be about it, actually. So that didn't happen. Be able to do 20 pull-ups in one sitting. I can't do that. Touch toes for 20 seconds. Still can't do that. Create a business on YouTube. I wouldn't call this a business. It's going toward that direction, I guess, creating something on YouTube. But in my 26th year around the sun, didn't touch anything on YouTube. Cold shower every single day, definitely not. And write a book, definitely not. So, out of all of those things, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, none of them came true. I sat down, I took the time. When I was 26, I turned 26. I wrote all those things. Those are all the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to learn. I wanted to take a step forward in. I didn't. And so I found this paper probably about a month before I turned 27. And it was one of the biggest revelations I think I've had, or I can speak to, I can remember over the last couple of years. It might have been the thing that actually kind of sparked this new journey. I would say maybe, woke me up, so to say. And so I regretted all those things that I did not do. Right? And now, I think a good chunk of those things I'm working toward. Right? And so if I can go back to, at this point it's okay, 35 minutes, whatever. It just takes a long time to upload. But if I can go back to what I learned from my race and to just keep on moving, you know. Uh, that's kind of where I'm at now. I think that can help with regret, as well as understand that you will always be moved. Like I said about the ocean, the boat, and the person. And because of that, you have to keep your mind present. You I have to realize, be aware of the regret, that it's something, it's truth, right? It's something that my mind, my soul probably is trying to speak to me. I can't push it to the side. I can't say I don't want to talk to you. No, 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 no. Like this is trying to talk to me because it means something to me, right? But because time moves forward, I have to move forward. So I have to realize it. I have to be aware of it and go, okay, well, next time, here's what I'm going to do. And that's it. That's it. I think for me, I want to just start making things a little bit more simple. Like, this life is already pretty confusing, pretty complex, pretty uncertain, right? It's it's a puzzle that almost can't be solved, right? But I think the reward that you get from it is the effort in trying to solve it, even though you understand that it'll never be complete. Oof, I don't know. I don't know. Um, so if I had to end anything about regret, and like I said, this is something that I'm gonna call a naked truth. It's a big aspect, I think, of life in general that I think we have to address. I have to address, at least. And I think the conversation is ongoing. I'll probably have more ideas and revelations about how to deal and how to handle regret. But for now, that's kind of what I got for you guys. That's what I got for myself. And if you could visualize anything, don't jump out of the boat, right? Stay present. Don't let regret consume you, right? There's no point in that. There's no point in that. What that does is that just keeps you behind. It just holds you back from moving forward in general, from realizing your full potential, and from moving toward the person that you want to be, from closing that gap of going from who you are now to who you want to eventually be, to where you are now to where you want to eventually be, whether that be in your career, in your relationship, anything, right? Your personal growth. So yeah, I got to be honest, that was pretty fun. Now, is 40 minutes maybe fun? Maybe not. But I really felt that. And so I thank you for giving me your time. And I hope that if something in this episode sparked a conversation within you, because it totally ignited a fire in me. I think I'm gonna get off of here and go run through a wall. I don't know. That feels pretty good. Maybe it's just the coffee. I don't know. But if something spiked, if something, we could spike too. If something sparked a conversation within yourself, I hope that you give that your time as well. If you gave me your time, give that your time. Don't be afraid of it. Okay? It is you, right? You have the weapons You have the ability to conquer yourself. Because what is your biggest fear? I think sometimes it's really ourselves, right? So understand that you are powerful beyond measure. You are more powerful than you know. You can be. You have that ability. We have to believe that, at least. I have to believe that, at least. If I capped out, just like in the race, if I capped out and said, well, I could only exert this much energy. When I get to that point, then what am I going to do? I know, I'm done. What would I do? So, yeah. Till next time. Peace. Oh, man.